return you to regular programming.
And the method or the reason behind the method is that the government does not have your best interest at heart. You know what I mean?
Let's be specific, because we don't
The,
want...
the shadow one.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about this one.
Okay.
I'm talking about the global
Good.
one. No.
Wait, could you hit the AC again and just
Yep.
close the door, because I feel like we're leaking out here, and I'm going to try to fix things. Guys, thank you for staying with us. It's a short pause here. We're dying because it's summer, and that means my computer starts to act up with this weird sound. Apologies, Sergio, again. I'll try to sort it out, but like I said, I still have not been able to source an iPad or anything.
Let's
So
blame China.
Let's just
It's
blame
China.
There we go. That seems like it will be better for a while.
Exactly.
Okay. So,
Actually,
to just re-emphasize
yeah.
everything, okay? Because this is a point where we have a lot of overlap, but we also have some contention on things. We established that there is a lot of stuff going on in the world, a lot of factions. And this is why, by the way, a lot of people see it as, you know, right versus wrong, when really we are at one level playing a game.
Yes.
And these guys are
yeah.
playing three-dimensional chess against each other.
I agree 100%.
So
And
we're just
this is
there.
what you talked about this in your last podcast with when the guys were here, and you mentioned about the protests that are happening in the States and
Yeah.
everything. And like, to me, it has completely lost its original purpose when the protest have turned in a specific way. And this is where I believe manipulation comes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was saying this to someone before, and when it comes to, I mean, obviously there's a lot of, you know, racial discriminations all over the world, not just in the States. Like, this is a fact. This is, no one can refute this, even especially in the Arab world. So, but how you flip a story is what makes you control and how you change the narrative of, and why people are protesting. You know what I mean? Like, I'll show you how stories can be told differently and how people would react. If I tell you in Lebanon, let's say, a man killed a woman yesterday, and it was a horrific murder and everything, you'd be like, oh my God, this is horrible. If I tell you a Christian man killed a Muslim woman in Lebanon, the first thing you're going to think about, oh my God, this is a religious crime. It's not an actual crime, you know? So while there is a lot of racial discrimination, and it happens all over the world, the way you spin a story, now it has become about the racial discrimination and not about the police who are in control and how they are being trained.
Yeah.
There was a picture today which literally just, it shows how much it's messed up, how much people are lost when it comes to what to do. And I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a black cop in the protest yesterday, a black cop standing, riot, holding his shield, and a white woman giving him the middle finger. And it's saying, imagine being black and having to deal with a Black Lives Matter movement against you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This shows that it's not actually related to race, where it should have, the conversation should have been geared towards, why are the police so eager to kill someone?
Yeah.
Why is there so much brutality, especially in the States? Why do you keep hearing about this stuff? Instead of it turned into black versus white. And when you do that, the people who are in power in the States, for example, will remain because the public forgot what it's about. It's not about me versus you. It's about us versus them.
Yeah.
You get me? They don't want you to talk about that.
That's why I think that people forget that when you're pointed towards the emotional argument, because let's clarify something here very honestly, because maybe last time I didn't even get into how deeply horrific the image can be for somebody, right?
Yeah.
For you to see that moment happening for 8 minutes, and I remember there was something ironic. By the way.
It's horrible. It's horrendous.
Man.
Just
Just to talk about coincidences, I went to watch the Rodney King beating that happened.
Yeah.
Also 8 minutes.
Oh my God.
It's a real coincidence.
Conspiracy theory.
some numerology motherfucker.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's it.
8 minutes.
Something about 8. 8 is also the number of corn. Just saying.
There we
go. The point I'm saying, when you see something that horrific, okay, it triggers something in you where you finally spot injustice.
Yeah.
And you know it's been going around.
Yeah. But you don't see it.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
You have tensions built up. Like we said, everybody's in lockdown. People are stressed out already. Okay. You have a guy who's pretty much like a dick-wagging idiot in office. Okay. And he sometimes says things that are truthful and he gets misrepresented. And a lot of times he lies and then wonders why people think he's a liar.
Yeah.
Okay, you have that going on, and you have a lot of tension because there are people that are profiting just even without conspiracies.
Yeah.
You forget about conspiracies. There's just a system
Yeah.
that profits out of rage.
Of course.
Like you can see this in YouTubers. There are YouTubers that start out and they're really honest, and then they realize, you know what?
I'm not making too much money.
I'm not making money until I start putting clickbait. I
Yeah.
don't make money until I start talking about dick and boobs and
Yeah.
everything else. I don't start
Yeah.
making money until I'm there and being outrageous or talking about this or talking.
Yeah.
So there's a system that kind of acclimates you
Yeah.
for reward.
It manipulates you emotionally to actually engage in this, as
Exactly.
opposed to just hear the news and have your own opinion or act upon it. Now your emotions are
Man.
part of it, and when emotions are part of it, you don't get anywhere.
It happens to me, man. Everybody has their version of it. Like
Oh, yeah.
my version of it, every time I see one of these like social justice warrior like geek movies, if I don't balance my viewpoint
Yeah.
and I just listen to some of the YouTuber nerds that
Yeah.
are like, feminists are taking over
Yeah.
our movie.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's some truth in what he's saying.
Yeah.
But you
But the
know
way-
that
yeah.
you know that
Exactly.
95% of what he's saying
Yeah.
is to piss me off.
Yeah, to
and to get me
provoke,
to
exactly.
go, yes, they're taking me away, they're taking
Yeah.
this away from me.
Yeah.
And that's literally the equivalent, geek equivalent of a Fox News.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's also this mechanic of red versus blue going on, right?
Well, actually, the states, with their system is horrendous when it comes to this or that.
Fuck's
It's like
sakes.
if you're not with me, you're against me. This is the mentality that they have.
It's like
You
it doesn't
can't
have to be
a-
that simple, man.
Exactly.
It doesn't have
Exactly.
to be.
You can be like this, and like a lot of people are saying, you can be with Black Lives Matter and against police brutality. Like you can be against both. It's not like, you can be supporting something but against it. It doesn't have to be so black and white.
People
This
are
is
so
the
scared,
issue.
man. People are so scared, and people are so guilty, and nobody has, because people don't have conversations anymore. Okay, so people don't know how to talk. You are part of a culture, for example, from Lebanon, where people have a lot of complex things going on.
Yeah.
There's multiple denominations. There was a civil war that happened because of a lot of complexity. People from different
on a
backgrounds.
religious level, not even racial, religious, which is untouched.
Exactly.
You cannot touch religion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can never, in that situation, look at things just in black and white. There's so many things going on.
Yeah.
So you have to develop a much more complex mindset to be able to converse about this and talk about it and parse it and be able to bring out some detail and see it in detail.
But the problem is that when you don't see it in black and white, especially in today's world, you are branded in a specific way.
Exactly.
Like now it's some people were called out because they did not put a black box on their Instagram.
Exactly.
Like this is not the point of this whole thing.
No.
Like if you want to change the world, I'm all for it. I'm all for changing this ridiculous, outdated racial discrimination. Like that doesn't even make sense to me. Like for example, I could understand, even though I'm against it, but I could understand when I look at my culture in Lebanon and I see the differences when it comes to different religious sects. Okay,
Yeah.
so I grew up in a very small bubble of Christian values and beliefs, and I've said this to a lot of people. I haven't had any contact with a Muslim person until I was 19 and in university.
Fuck, man.
Yes, it's after the war. Literally, the country was divided by sect. You live here, you're a Christian. You live there, you're a Muslim Sunni. You live there, you're a Shia.
Didn't they say that was the problem that caused it in the first place? Is people were not together?
This is because something happened with Palestinians who came into as refugees and they wanted to fight Israel from Lebanon,
Right,
and then
yeah.
they turned on Lebanon. They want to take over the country and stuff like that. So it became a holy war between, and that's where the split happens, and that's where the army was split, because in the army you had different sects, and people were like, I'm loyal to my own sect, like I don't want my country to change, and everything went downwards from there. It's like 15 years of everyone screwing everyone.
Right. So everybody is now stuck to their own places, their own bubbles.
Now things are getting better, but once the war finished, because I was born in 85, and then for the next 5 years, the war was still going on. So
Right,
it
yeah.
ended in 1990. So from 1990 until 2005, almost like for the next 15 years, people were still separated completely through sects. It was insane. And everyone was, you had all these jokes about each other. And you didn't even know that that this is offensive or this is wrong or whatever. Like we used to make fun of different religions. They made fun of us, and you had no idea what they believe in. You just know that this is the enemy. This is someone I don't want to be associated with. So once I reached university and I talked to people, I was like, this is actually not as bad as as I was brought up.
You thought you were going to see something that was like...
Or someone who someone who wants to kill me on the spot because I'm Christian, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
someone with a sword who's like, I'm going to behead you.
Yeah.
Like this is the fear that you grew up with. But back to my point that I would understand the differences when it comes to this because it's more on a cultural level. It's more on belief system. So for example, like I could be different from you and I don't trust what you believe in because you have a different background than me.
Right.
Again, I'm not with it, but I understand it.
You have a preconception. Yeah.
But when it comes to race, it's like just because you have a different color than me doesn't mean you think differently than me. So that's why to me it never made sense to me, this racial
because for
separation.
us we don't have it as often. Like you said, we have separation from denomination and everything else. That's usually political ideology, religious ideology.
Exactly.
That's the thing we sympathize with, right?
Yeah.
But over there, they in the States specifically, even compared to Europe, which I feel like Europe is worse because you also have a lot of separation.
Europe is a lot more racist, by the way,
A
than
lot
the States.
more.
Like I have experienced things,
more.
but no one talks about that. Like
Nobody
everyone
talks
thinks
about it.
that the US is unbelievably racist.
No.
When everyone I know, like I haven't been there personally, but everyone who I know who went, they were like, these people are so nice.
Yeah.
Everyone is so
No.
welcoming. I mean, this is the experience.
The difference is that Europe is very isolated from one another the same way. Like, you know, if you're Moroccan, North African, Algerian or something, you're living in your own part, you're experiencing your own world, you're having a Moroccan experience of France. Okay? And the white French people get to live their own, so they don't really have to interact with each other.
Exactly.
Okay? And that's why when they do, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of friction sometimes because of the forced interaction. In the US, it's kind of different. Everybody has to interact with everybody because above all else, number one, you're American. Okay, no matter what your background is, Puerto Rican, Mexican, African, whatever it is, you have to be an American first. So people kind of have a forced mingling. But there are scenarios where it comes to status and class. That you have separation, right? So people that will be, you know, at the bottom, the everyday worker, the person that is, you know, working a 9-to-5 job on minimum wage, can barely live paycheck to paycheck, and they're trying to get by. And they know that because of the color of their skin and because of the city they live in, whether it's Detroit or anywhere else, that they have a police force that is primed to assume the worst out of them. Because assuming the worst is sometimes what keeps those cops alive.
I get that.
Do you understand that?
I understand that.
mentality?
But at the same time, I don't understand provoking that. See, this is where I come in, okay? Because, for example, as a Lebanese guy, I have a lot of issues when I need to apply for a visa to go to another country, okay? I was stopped at the Paris Charles de Gaulle airport for an hour just because I was with my ex and she's Syrian and I'm Lebanese, and they stopped us on the side. We wanted like to go shopping and everything at the check-in, just until they board everyone into the gate, and that's where they're gonna, you know, ask us more questions and stuff like that. Okay, I understand again, I haven't experienced discrimination the way other people have, so I'm not claiming that I know. In the way, as an Arab, as a Lebanese, as Lebanese people have a big history when it comes to this stuff. I mean, my country has a terrorist group, let's just say it, you know what I mean? Like, it's on the list, whether we agree with them or not. So I have that. And I don't provoke it. It's not like I stand in an airport and pick up my phone and say, oh, you stopped me because I'm Lebanese. See, you think I'm Arab, so you're racist against me. I just go with it. Even though it's wrong that they have this idea of me because I'm Lebanese, I have to, in a way, take responsibility for what my people have done. Do you understand? For example, to go to Canada, I have to apply for a tourist visa. It has to I have to apply it a month in advance. I have to have 2 interviews to get approved, and then after I provide all the paperwork, all the bank accounts, everything that shows that I'm coming back to Lebanon. This is when I was in Lebanon. Okay, that's when I can get my visa if I get it. It's a non-refundable as well, paid, and sometimes I don't get it. That could be I could go and say, oh, this is racial discrimination. They're just stopping me because I'm Lebanese. This is literally why they're stopping me, because of my background, because of my skin color, brown, right? But I also know that a lot of Lebanese people have gone there and they have stayed in Canada illegally for 20 years and 30 years, and the people are paying for them through, you know, like welfare and stuff like that, that this government decided, I don't trust those people anymore.
I get it all the time as well when I was going to the States, and to this day I always get the extra processing because of one fuck up in my whole life.
Exactly. But when you stand in line, you don't provoke them because they have a specific.
No, I know.
This is where I come in.
But hold up, there's a very big distinction between that scenario and another. In that scenario, we're in an airport. Okay, there are other people there. There's cameras everywhere. It's a different kind of setup where they might discriminate with their attitude, and some of them have been the biggest dicks to me ever. Like when I was flying into the States from JFK, Never had any issues. Whenever I do processing from Abu Dhabi, where you remember the U.S. Passport Customs Office, or the processing happens in Abu Dhabi.
Oh my
so
God.
even if you get screwed over, you're still in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
At least I didn't fly like 12
12 hours
and then told to go the fuck back. Okay?
Yeah.
And you can tell like those customs officers will tell you to go fuck off, but they'll say it with a smile because they know they're here.
Yeah,
right?
you're fine. Yeah,
You're
it's
fine.
okay.
You can tell the education difference.
Yeah.
But whenever I ever, like the worst experience I ever had was flying back to the States from Jamaica with a wedding.
Okay.
And I was going to Miami International directly.
Okay.
And they have a lot of predisposition when it comes to, illegal, entry from Cuba, from other places, etc.
Okay. Yeah.
So the people that work there are just like the entry level asshole.
Yeah.
That barely, you can tell he just needs to exercise the power.
Yeah.
Because he's
so he feels good about himself.
Yeah. And the guy that talked to me was like a white Cuban, so he needs to prove to the other white assholes that he's not just a Cuban in disguise.
Oh my
so
God.
he needs to double down on his whiteness to prove that.
So you have to deal with his insecurities on top of his.
Exactly. I was like, dude, listen, I get it. Okay. But can you not do this?
Yeah, like don't project on me,
man. Can you not project on me your own fucking insecurity just because you have to prove to the heck? You know, I don't give a shit, all right?
Yeah.
So that scenario is different, okay? Even though he was being a complete dick. And he wanted me to get angry. He was being a complete dick the whole time. For 12 hours, I'm held in, extra processing, isolation, put into a fucking place with like other, drug smugglers, everything else. Just because I overstayed one time 6 years ago in the States.
Oh, so he was looking at your history. Like he saw something. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
and
okay.
I've been to the States multiple times before that. I've been there 2 presidents ago. So, like
2 presidents ago, I like that. Yeah.
Two presidents ago. 2 presidents ago, I was in the States going multiple times, and now you decide to make an issue of this. All right.
Oh, so you've been there after this thing happened, and they didn't make an issue.
Never.
He just wanted to be a dick, basically.
He wanted to be a dick. Right?
Yeah.
Now, in that scenario, it's a different scenario than, let's say, a cop who could be the same guy, okay, the same asshole, and he's gotten used to this power that he has.
Yeah.
Where you remember, there's this one guy. He was a black guy in a car, and he was gonna pull out his cell phone, his ID, his wallet, and the guy just starts opening at him.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it, then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
Told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are.
Now that's a scenario where the guy could not have been provoking him at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the only thing you can say is like, man, just dress like Cosby. Like put on a freaking sweater and glasses and be as passive as possible, and then maybe the guy's not gonna be a dick to you. You don't know that. Maybe if you pull out the wallet, you just happen to be the guy that was gonna get shot that day.
I get that.
As that one cop.
But
now here's where I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah.
That cop is a number. Like if you have an acceptable number of people that no matter what you do, are gonna be dicks with guns, and it's always gonna be like 0.5, 0.2%. That number is gonna happen no matter what kind of screening you do, no matter what you do after that. The issue I have is when you finally collect that moment on a video camera, on footage, and people feel it for the first time that this is happening.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the majority of cops.
Yeah.
But it's an indication of a problem.
Of a system.
Of a system and a problem that exists.
Yeah.
The issue becomes not, hey, everybody wants to prove they feel it. Like they feel that this is an outrage. Nobody's against the outrage.
Yes.
The problem becomes, what do you do about it after the fact?
Exactly. See, this is my question. Like, for example, if you're now protesting racism, what is the outcome of this protest? Are people going to stop being racist?
Well, one of the things they're talking about this week, they're saying defund the police. Minneapolis is actually talking legitimately.
Yeah. So you're going
get rid of the police.
So you're going after not the racial topic now. You're going after the police. So I would talk about the way police are trained in those places. Like they tell you, like a nurse or something gets more hours training than a police does, or something like that. It's insane how little they actually train them, and that's why you see them all completely panicking, which shouldn't be. Someone in his position should not be panicking when he sees someone maybe going for a gun. He should be trained enough to calm himself down to absorb the situation, for example.
But like we said, sometimes you're going to have somebody that has the combination of PTSD plus being a complete asshole. The power, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the power trip that he's on, yeah.
You can. There are some of them that do that, man. You know them. They're the fuckers that will do like a combat role. You know, they're like. You know, they're like he just barely made it into being a cop.
Yeah.
And he starts like acting like he's the shit.
Yeah.
And he's fucking Robo.
And he has something to prove,
Yeah.
and he all that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He wants to be Rambo. He wants to show that he is the man. And in those scenarios, sometimes you have a perfect storm where the combination of that guy plus a little bit of resistance or a little bit of this.
Exactly.
And then you have these moments where you get that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Where he's stepping on the guy's neck.
That was, yeah.
Now, we don't know the footage, like the footage of what happened in the car. Now, these guys, no matter what, are getting prosecuted.
Yeah.
They've gotten charged.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
indicted.
Second degree murder, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Now, we don't know if they're going to get off of it because that's the other part,
Oh my
right?
God, if they get off of it.
That's the issue.
The US will burn if
That's
they
the
get
issue.
off of it.
We don't, because if these guys can prove, we felt threatened.
Yeah.
If George, under the influence, when he was put in that police car, you can see there's a moment in footage where they were putting him in the car.
Yeah.
And something happens and then they pull him out.
Exactly.
If they can prove that through body cam footage where they've redacted it, if he just did this, just that,
Yeah.
resisting a struggle.
Yeah.
If they can prove that on the computer, they saw his police record where he's been arrested, armed, assault or a break-in, or I can't remember what the exact charge was, where he had a gun and tried to hold up this woman that was pregnant. If they can see a record, if they can show, well, this guy was a threat, that is still a monster.
Yeah, but
he's a monster.
But the technicality is that he did what he had to do. Like he was,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, these fuckers, unless you have vigilante superheroes that are gonna go beyond and above the law and just decide, I'm gonna be the Punisher and I'm gonna take these kinds of fuckers out because they slip through the system.
Not unlike what happened to Epstein, by the way. But
we're not gonna talk about that. That's another episode.
Yeah,
that's an entirely other episode. But yeah, like if
the thing is that I just watched a video today about a police guy. I think he's retired now, and he was saying that one of the first thing they are taught in the academy is to say, "Sir, please stop resisting," out loud in front of witnesses, even if the person who's in front of you is not actually resisting. Because later they can use that in a court where they will bring those witnesses and the witness will say, he was telling him to stop resisting. Yeah. So,
look, that phrase, "Sir, stop resisting," is something we are all taught in the academy. You use those words, stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting, instead of saying, "Fuck you, you're a piece of shit," blah, 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 because of the public's perception around you. You want the public as witnesses watching you saying, "Sir, stop resisting, sir, stop resisting." So when they're witnesses in court, they can say, yeah, the officer was telling them to stop resisting, and he did resist. You fast forward now, everybody knows that "Sir, stop resisting" phrase is an ingrained phrase, and it's a bunch of bullshit.
So, okay, so that means he was resisting, that means you are in the clear, you know? So imagine that even from an academy level, they are working on how to protect their own actions instead of how can I, protect the people. And there's this saying also that applies everywhere, that why is it that when you see a police car next to you, you don't feel safe, you feel guilty. Right. So whenever you're driving, let's say, and you see a police, you don't feel, I'm in a safe zone.
Sometimes those bicycle cops in
Miami,
they make me laugh, bro.
No, you feel bad for them, but you're not feeling safe. See, you're still not feeling safe or protected.
I'm not feeling safe for a different reason.
Exactly. Like, you're so cute with your bike. Yeah. No, but really, like, for example, as opposed to a fireman, if you see fire truck, you immediately feel, okay, they're going to take care of me. Right? But if you see a police guy, you don't feel you're going to be protected. Yeah. You actually feel, how am I not going to provoke him? How am I not going to get his attention? And this speaks volumes about the status system that everywhere is implemented about the police versus the people and how protected they feel. And so
do you feel like certain people have that above others? Because one of the videos that was going around, the one that proves that racism is a problem, I don't like it because it's being used and misinterpreted, like we said, by the media, by others, to make the issue a lot worse racially than it actually is. Have you seen that woman that goes, "Does anybody in the room want to be in the same situation as a black person?"
If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here.
You know the one?
I think, but I haven't known.
It's like an older
fully.
video where she's proving that, you know, nobody wants to experience the same kind of racism as what black people go through.
Okay.
And she tells everybody in the room in this like hall, this you know, like a conference hall, like almost like a TED Talk type of setting.
Okay.
And she says, does anybody want to experience this?
And no one raised his hand or something.
First of all, she gives them like 10 seconds or like even less, like
No
6
one
like in a comedy show, I'll ask people to fucking, like, you know this, I'll ask them to come up and volunteer and nobody's gonna.
Exactly. And here is like, yeah.
Like they're still processing what you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to. Nobody know. That's not a sign of accurate, you know, focus group testing. Okay. There's a lot of, this issue is very complex and nobody's denying that there is a problem.
Yeah.
The issue really becomes after you've done your social media hashtags and activism and all this other bullshit.
Yeah, apparently no one's mentioning now anymore. The hype is over. You know what I mean? This is what upsets me. But anyway, yeah.
You know what I did the other day? I was watching the House Testimony Commission. You know, when they were talking about the whole incident.
Yeah.
This was yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, on my freaking birthday. My wife was like, shut the TV off.
This is your birthday. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
I bet you nobody was watching that. That was George Floyd's brother testifying.
Oh wow.
To the committee about, you know,
because no one cares about that. They don't care about what's gonna happen with George Floyd's case or how his family gonna deal with it. Or it's not about that. It's just jumping on the bandwagon.
But this is the thing. And even his family are saying, don't riot, don't loot, don't break things.
Actually, this thing when the riots and the looting, this is something that this is a very inexperienced public goes through. Okay, we in Lebanon, we have experienced this a lot before, and I was trying to talk with a few people on social media about this, that don't think that this is a good thing, rioting, because so someone just shared a video of Trevor Noah, and Trevor Noah was saying in a very 20-minute long video talking about, you know, discrimination and the system and how like this is not just one case or one murder, this has happened, you know, it's decades and decades and everything's fine. And then he talks about how, like, he's saying, why are people upset from the rioters and the looters and people who destroy things? Like, I understand it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I do understand why they're doing it, because there's oppression, because he gave like an analogy of like what is society is, and society is a contract between people, a verbal contract. I act like a human being, you act like a human being, we're in society.
I saw his video,
right?
Another one you talked
okay.
about,
So, and he says, when someone breaks that contract, what do you expect the other person to do and everything? To me, this is a big problem because you don't understand the political agenda behind riots and behind these looters and stuff like that. This used to happen a lot in Lebanon.
Yeah.
So in Lebanon, we protest a lot, as you know, especially since last October. We've been protesting all over the place, right? So like in any place, you have people who are against the government, and you have a very small minority who want to support the government because they're either paid by them, they're supporting them religiously or economically or whatever. What used to happen in Lebanon, this used to happen a couple of years ago. We go down to the street, we're protesting very peacefully. We don't want the system, we don't want this, we don't want that. And then suddenly out of nowhere, some people come in and start breaking cars, start throwing stones at shops, start burning cars. When that happens, we know that these people are not with us.
Yeah,
they are being sent to make us look bad. So we would leave the protest. There would be calls on megaphones, leave now, because we don't want to be associated with them.
Exactly.
And once we leave, we can see whoever's left, like maybe
those are
30
actual
people.
Conspiracy theories, by the way.
Exactly.
Those are real operations that happen.
These are real operations because we know, like, especially in Lebanon, you understand the culture so much, you know where this person lives or where they come from. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't glamorize the looting and the rioting because they are put there, like you said before in the previous episode, the bricks. Yeah. Who put them there? You know
all
what I mean?
All it takes is, dude, one shipment. You just say, deliver it at this time.
And how many people, black people, like there's a video of a black woman, she's in the street with her friend and she's begging someone. There was a white girl who was writing BLM on some storefront. And she's like, this is not with us. Don't represent us. We don't want this. You know?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please. I want you to know this is not. Don't police people. Let me tell you this. This is not a black woman who's putting Black Lives Matter. I just want you to know that when. Right, but y'all doing that for us, and we ain't asked you to do that. Listen. Don't spray stuff out here when they go blame black people for this, and black people didn't do it. They not gonna show y'all faces when they see that on their building. them coming to your peaceful protest and make it something that it's not. That man could not breathe on the streets.
Don't represent us. We don't want this. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This shows you how much actual people who are honest about what they want, the change that they want to happen in the States, they don't want this violence. They don't want the riots or the looting or anything like that. Those are being done so that they make them look bad. Under the banner of Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter, all whatever you're calling it. Or,
you know what I have a problem with outrage? The issue with it, because I understand the angle that Trevor Noah is trying to bring, which is if they disrupt the social contract, you must disrupt it as well and show that you're not going to play the game until they play fair. Okay? The issue I have with it is that it's the equivalent of like if you're in a marriage or if you're in a relationship with somebody and you feel like that person is being disingenuous. And I've been in plenty of relationships before my current one where I felt like maybe my partner or maybe some people even that I've been in business with that are not playing fair, and there's a barrier of like mistrust where every time I think we're speaking honest, it turns out there's a little bit of manipulation. There's something going on. When I resorted to being outraged, when I resorted to screaming and shouting and breaking stuff.
You got what you wanted?
Never. Every single time that bitch won.
Oh, believe me, I've been there, so I know what.
You know what I mean? It's like that's the one thing
you
they'll
always
have on
lose
you.
the argument when you get emotional.
You've lost.
When you get emotional and angry, you've lost completely.
Just pointing out, it's not this current marriage, right?
No. I'm pretty sure. No. We all agree on that.
Yes. All right. This is situations in the past, specifically with people that are as fiery as I am, and they're not a calming influence in my life. And I have learned the wrong way, which is that if somehow I scream over them or I shout or I do this or that somehow that gives me back my power. And it doesn't. All it does is it either weakens your argument because you're no longer a speaking human being. You're just like screaming like an animal at something.
Exactly.
And you look bad no matter what. Okay? So that's one side of it.
And it's used against you as well.
Exactly. Used against you no matter what. The other problem is that even when let's look at the other side of the situation where sometimes I'll yell and I'll shout and I got everything out there and I might feel like I won. Like I might feel like they submitted, they didn't use it against me there. But you know what happens? We never talk about the problem. The rage got out.
Exactly.
The anger got out.
You've calmed down. You no longer have any motivation to pursue this topic.
Exactly.
So you end up with, okay, I'm done. Okay, and then like maybe a month later, you're gonna go through this all over again.
The same thing over and over again.
Exactly.
And that's my issue with these kinds of like outrage, because I understand that the initial outrage spreads awareness. But it's pointless if it's just gonna burn out. Like this is literally a policy that some cities do when they have riots or protests. They're like, just don't interact with them. Just let them burn themselves out. Just let them break.
Let it burn out. Let it finish. Let all the energy go out. And once they calm down, we'll be able to do something about it.
Exactly. So everybody has different approaches. The issue I'm having is that how do we solve the problem? Because if you look at this current suggestion from like Minneapolis and Minnesota and just the idea of defunding the police, get rid of the police. In my head, I'm like, you know what? It's such a stupid idea.
Let's just
do it. Just do it.
I want to see what happens. I'm interested in seeing what happens.
Because people are going to learn that there is no easy answer. There is no matter what you do, there's no easy answer. And there are people that are, like we said, factions, either intentionally or like the media, just opportunistically profiting, that are making this situation worse. So how do we get to a point where we actually have a real conversation when you have all of this shit going on, man? That's the problem. Like, I feel like the U.S. underestimates the power they have in their hand compared to like some of the situations we have here.
And the thing is, if you just look at the history of the U.S. when it comes to these topics, like when you want to talk about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and these people who have actually made a change, it was never through this anger. This is what actually separates them from the rest. That's why they stand out. Like Martin Luther King is one of the icons when it comes to peacefully getting what you want.
Exactly.
Because he was able to absorb it completely and not let emotion get into it. Not release people in the street, go go break and get angry and hit. Because that it doesn't lead you anywhere. I like the fact that this was brought to my attention that whatever happened in the US, it actually got on a global scale. So now everyone's talking about it, and not just about black people in America, but black people all over the world, especially like also in the Middle East. Like there's a lot of people who jumped on the bandwagon like in Lebanon, and like, oh my God, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, dude, do you know what you do? Like, as a Lebanese, do you know how racist you are? Like, we have like unbelievable, ways.
What did you say last time? You said something about Sri Lankan.
Yeah. Like in Lebanon, we don't have an Indian force, labor
force.
come. Yeah, they don't. It's not Lebanon. It's Sri Lanka. So most people are Sri Lanka, Philippines, and I'm not sure. I don't. Ethiopia.
I was going to say. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the way things happened is that for some weird reason, most of the Sri Lankan girls who come to Lebanon are basically like housemaids, cleaners in offices and stuff like that. Okay, and most of the Filipinos or the Filipinas, they work as nannies.
Yeah,
this is just how it became.
Thing, yeah.
Right. Ethiopia is more, I think, on the. I'm not sure. Anyway, so. This is only in the past like 20 years. So it's not like rooted in our culture or something that, but now people, the way they talk is that, so did your Sri Lankan come to clean your house or no? They associate the word Sri Lankan with housemaids.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if she is even Sri Lankan or not.
Exactly.
This is the, like my Filipina came with me because she had to take care of the kids. This is how they talk. Like it's part of the vocabulary that they use. Like, do you even understand how racist that is? We used to have a chocolate, which is like, once I grew up, I understood how racist that is, okay? And they changed it now because they also understood how bad it is.
Oh, this is going to be gold, isn't it?
Oh, good God. So it's a chocolate that, I don't think it's in Bahrain or actually in the Gulf, but it's like a dome of chocolate. Inside it, there is white cream.
Right. Okay.
Just a dome, very plain.
I think I know. Snowballs? No, it's something else. It's called
something like that because you bite into it and you get the cream, which is inside, and it's like head. Okay. Now that name originally is racist because in Europe they used to call it head of. I'm sorry, and for the racist.
The N word.
For the N word. Okay, that's what they call it. N head. That's what the chocolate is named. N head. Okay.
Okay.
It gets worse in Lebanon. Because in Lebanon, we didn't
How could it possibly be worse?
We didn't just call it N-head. We called it slave head. Imagine. I used to go down to the shop as a kid, not understanding the words that I'm saying, I'll say it in Arabic, I want ras al-abd.
Wow.
Imagine how, and this is how it was promoted, on the TV, like when there is an ad.
Isn't it weird? Like we had this built into us.
Yes.
And not even think about it.
Experienced things.
About
exactly. Like
nothing.
You didn't even know how racist some of the things you were saying, and it's just weird. But this is the change that's happening right now. It's called like tarboush, which means a head. Hat, or the old hat in Lebanon. So now they fixed that, and they fixed other stuff which were also very racist. When it comes to this topic. And I've seen a lot of people like now with what's happening now saying like, excuse me, all you Lebanese people, like on social media, like big influencers or someone who has a lot of following, like, I understand that you want to defend, black people in America, but look at yourself and how you're treating your own people that are here.
That's the
just
thing.
look at yourself
It's
first.
easy to point it there because
Exactly.
it's like you can be the justice for the. It's like I was mentioning with the guys last time. It's like you get to live this feeling of you doing something, this justice. You're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're keeping yourself busy, and you feel like you're on the right side of history.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be on the right side of history, right? But nobody wants to actually go through
something.
The actual boring, difficult analysis of why things are not so easy.
And no one wants to keep up after this hype dies down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one wants to do the work because in the middle of it, I had this girl on my Facebook feed, and when where is she from? I think she's from like Suriname or somewhere like in the Caribbeans. And when the Amazon rainforests were happening, remember that? It was like in 2020. By
people cared about that at one point. Yeah.
Oh my God! Like she would flood my feeds about the Amazon rainforest.
Okay.
Look at what people are doing. They are not caring about the animals. Do this, do that. Where are animal rights?
And how much almond milk was she drinking?
I don't know about her life, but I don't know what she was doing.
Okay.
But what I do know is that 2 weeks in, she stopped talking about it.
Best.
Where is all this passion? Where is your activist work that you actually go there? I mean, it's amazing that you're passionate. I'm not passionate about it. This is a problem in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're so passionate about it, do something. Actually go. This spreading of awareness, to me, this is a complete waste of time, and it sort of like shuts down the guilt that's in you. Like I'm doing my part by spreading awareness. How are you spreading awareness?
For me?
Everyone knew, for example, with the black box, everyone knows about what's happening,
you mean
right?
the thing I did?
You did the black box?
No, I did. I put a black box with the definition of virtue signaling.
Oh yeah. That was nice.
Shit for that one. I got shit for that one.
Obviously, I knew you were gonna get shit for it. Okay. No, but like basically, people are now shutting their own guilt by saying, "I'm doing my part," right?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is not actually doing anything. Like for example, are you bringing awareness that there's racial discrimination in the States? Everyone knows that there is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just jumping on the bandwagon and fighting others who did not do as you did. Okay, so then what? What did you accomplish exactly?
You've proven that somehow you're an amazing person. That
exactly.
You care about
This is for you.
Do you know, Sergio? One of the things that bother me about doing a YouTube channel or doing anything that relates to media, like we were saying before.
Yeah.
When you want to sell something, you want to market something, you have to make it easy, bite-sized, digestible, easy to comprehend, black and white, red versus blue, Coke versus Pepsi. Don't make it complicated because people don't want to absorb and put the time and effort into figuring things out. Even some of my freaking hobbies, you look at miniature or D&D stuff, it's all about streamlining it, making it more accessible, right?
Yeah.
This is fine.
Yeah.
But we're not being honest about the fact that when we do this stuff, we lose something. There is a price we are paying, which is the depth and the detail and the nuance.
Exactly.
And I find that with a lot of activism these days, compared to back in the day, even if you go talk to some people that are nonprofits or NGOs or people that are trying to do work through, World Health Organization, whatever it is, okay? They'll tell you that the biggest issue they have is keeping people interested when you have to tell them the story, the troubles of what the real problem is on the ground. Like for example, Cecil the lion, okay? I at first thought that after you clear out Cecil the lion, you stop people from poaching lions in Africa, khalas, you solve the problem.
You solved it,
I read about this problem after the fact. You know what fucking happens? Turns out poachers, okay, are just poor people. The people that hunt the animals
and they
in
sell them
Africa.
too.
Okay? They're poor people. Do you know these like hunting reserves where people go, the white people come to shoot lions?
Yeah.
All right. Turns out apparently that these reserves and these preserves that were there, they take extra, like there's a surplus of elephants that are fucking up the countryside. And they'll allow you to come in and hunt them. Okay. Now they'll charge you a fee to hunt.
Yeah.
And then after that, they take all that money and they put it into conservation of the nature preserves and everything else. This is them accepting that there's not a perfect scenario.
Yeah.
You know why they do this? Because when they pay other people that used to be poachers,
they no longer poach.
They no longer poach. they actually become wildlife preservists.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like when the cops take somebody that used to be the drug dealer, he's
yes,
the
yes,
one
we
that
works with them, yeah.
Right?
Like Catch Me If You Can.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the same thing. The ex-poacher becomes the guy that's like, I know how these poachers work.
Yeah.
I did it because I just needed money. Okay? You're paying me a job. You're putting me into the system where I have a job. I can support my family. I'm going to protect these animals because now they're my source and my wildlife and this preserve, running it, making sure it operates. And okay, every now and then the fucking fat American's going to come and shoot an elephant. Okay? Yeah.
This is the reality.
This is the reality.
This is
the reality.
Exactly.
Okay?
And until you change that thinking, it's going to take 100 years maybe. So what's going to happen within the 100 years? At least we make it better.
I'll tell you what happened after the hashtag activism, all right, with Cecil the Lion.
Yeah.
And this is literally people complaining about this in Africa. They were saying this has become a crisis.
Yeah.
All the tourists that came in to hunt stopped. A
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
them, majority, okay?
Yeah.
And they were scared shitless because they didn't want to get involved with this. Fair enough. Okay. Now what happens? When you solve one problem, you created two other ones.
Yeah.
The people that used to have a job, that used to be poachers, went back to poaching.
Oh my God.
And there was a lot more death and destruction
Than before.
And now they're selling this shit on the black market
Yeah.
for like China and
Yeah,
everybody else that
yeah.
wants to get their dick hard.
Yeah, because they want to make money. And if you took away one way to take money, they're going to go back to what they know, for
Exactly.
example. See, this is the thing that nothing is black and white in the world. You know
No.
what I mean? Like, not only it's gray, I think like it's the entire colors of the rainbow inside. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so much different aspects to everything that happens that when you go on an activist witch hunt, okay, you are making it much more simpler than it is. Everything that you delve deeper into it and you understand why this is happening,
Yeah.
you can at least solve that issue. You know, like the root of why poachers need to poach. It's not like someone just woke up one day and was like, I'm gonna kill all the animals for no reason at all.
Yeah.
He needs the money, so that means there's a financial issue. That means we can solve that to prevent that. You know what I mean? So this is proof that even when it comes to what's happening now in the States and the discrimination and everything, I mean, I don't think that, you know, after this whole thing comes down, that racist people are gonna stop being racist.
No.
It's actually gonna make them more racist, if anything, because it has challenged their own beliefs and thoughts. And no matter how wrong these beliefs and thoughts are wrong, to them, this is what they live. This is their value.
Yeah.
Right.
They've justified it in their head.
That's it. Khalas, that's it. This is what exists to them. So seeing, let's say, this Black Lives Movement destroying properties are going to be like, yeah, you see, this is why we have to be so hard on them. Look what they're doing.
That's what you're giving
when
them.
you remove the police, look what they do. Like that. So
Yeah.
you're feeding them more reasons to be. Whereas instead of attacking that issue, you go back to why is there a racial problem in the States?
Yeah.
What is the cause of it? Is it starting? Does the education system have to change so that we actually implant more ideas in our children instead of like teaching them about, you know, physics or math that they'll never use? Teach them about social life. Where does it come
now,
from?
Sergio, how long did since we started talking about Cecil the Lion till you got to this point, how long did that take time-wise for us to just
3-4 minutes? Maybe?
more like because in our mindset it's like, oh, it's short, right?
Yeah.
But for the average person, that was maybe more than 10 minutes.
Okay.
Explanation. I don't have fucking time to listen to you to talk for 10 minutes, Sergio.
To reach that analogy of one connecting.
10 minutes of my life to talk.
Yeah.
I can just put up a black square on Instagram, Sergio.
And sleep well at night.
I can
basically.
sleep well. I can say, you know what? You gave me bite-sized justice. I knew that these are guys. Which team is right? Which team is wrong? They're blue. Okay, that means they're good. They're red. Red is bad. Bad is this.
Which actually, now that you said that, what I'm thinking is that the more simple your contribution is, the more you're gonna do it and then forget about it.
Yes.
So
exactly.
if someone just asks you, it's like, let's say I go someone and they tell me, okay, what's wrong about me being a black box? The act itself, there's nothing, and it takes you like 2 seconds to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so someone's like, oh, I can just do it. It's not gonna take time of my day. It doesn't cost me any money.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. But I have contributed to the cause. You know, you haven't contributed. They have made it so simple for you that you think you've contributed, you think you've done something, but you haven't. Maybe you've brought some awareness to a lot of people. Maybe other people have started to like, okay, why does this bother me? Why is this challenging my beliefs, everything? But on a grand scheme of scale, it's not like we're gonna come out of it where racism has ended.
No,
you know what I mean?
This is something I don't know if we can ever get back, man. Like I was talking to this about a bunch of guys that I know as friends, and they listen to the podcast every now and then, and they'll say, man, I love the topics you guys bring up. I love this. And one of the number one things they say was like, man, we can't but you just can't listen for that long. I said, yeah, I understand that. You know what? My podcast is really not that interesting, not that entertaining to keep you gripped for an hour and a half. But fuck me, there are other ones out there with like people that are much more interesting that will break down in depth every social issue, every science, every piece of history. Like they will go into detail, and you can come out of it wondering, you know what? Now I realize that this part of the world, this segment of the world that I wasn't looking into before, has suddenly become a lot more fleshed out.
Yeah,
it's like a freaking map in a video game. When you first start out, you're like, you just see the little areas, and then you open up the picture, and you're like, oh shit, and there's complications, and then if I kill this guy, this is what happens here, and it's not just black and white. Why is it not black and white? Why are you giving me more than 2 doors?
Exactly.
Don't give me choice.
I just want this or that. I don't want to have to think about the other doors or what they mean or what's the outcome consequences.
Me and a friend of mine growing up, Sergio, we'd play first person shooters, right? Any first person shooter when you're just playing the single player. Okay?
Yeah.
And one of the most terrifying moments for me,
when you have to make a choice,
is when you have multiple doors.
Yeah.
You're like, shit, man.
Dude, I got Fallout 3, which is not a streamlined game, right? It's a very open world. Just to explain to you how terrified I was. Have you played Fallout 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in the bunker for a long time, learning the controls and learning the game, and then you step out.
Yeah.
When you step out, they don't tell you what to do anymore. They just leave you. When that happened, I actually turned off the game. I couldn't play it. I stayed 1 year. It stayed in I played other games, and I couldn't look at it because like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't get emotionally invested in something like this. Like, I need to be told either do this or that, or like, you know how those games you have like good answers or bad answers in conversations, and ones you have like in red or you have in blue, so that they tell you this is the good answer, that's the bad answer. It will give you different influences. Whereas other games, like for example Fallout, you answer and see the consequences of your actions. But a lot of people cannot go into that.
They can't, man.
You know, like they need a much more easy, streamlined, black and white, two sides, and that's where I'm gonna make my choice.
Exactly. This is one of the biggest issues you will find in, as a perfect analogy in gaming, is this element of if you see choice and you see difficult situations. It's the two types of gamers as well. The average person doesn't want to be overwhelmed with information. They want the information streamlined. They want the dungeon master to tell them where to go and what to kill and what to... Don't confuse me with moral choice.
Exactly.
I don't want to...
I don't want to have to live with my choices.
No, I don't. This is why you hate
exactly. I don't want.
Just as an inside information into when I DM'd his game and his campaign, a lot of my situations are all about, you think you're getting away with this? Easy choice?
Nope.
You're not getting
You're going to pay for it 3 sessions later, by the way.